Hi, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Melanie. I go by the name Melanie Grace. You can find me anywhere on social media at TheMelanieGrace. Welcome to the Quilting with Rulers podcast. This podcast is dedicated to all quilters and sewists and artists who want to start finishing their projects. I started quilting in 2019, and not until 2020 did I realize that quilting with rulers is a great way to finish quilts. And ever since then, it has been my passion project and my dream to teach other quilters and sewists how to finish their quilts with rulers on their domestic sewing machine with just a quilting ruler, a free motion ruler foot, some snacks, some water, and maybe a good song or Gilmore Girls on their tablet or TV or whatever. This podcast is going to be dedicated to quilting with rulers and finishing quilts. We're going to cover everything from finishing your quilts with walking foot, to finishing your quilts with straight rulers, to finishing your quilts with curved rulers, finishing your quilts with custom quilt designs, and then my absolute favorite go-to quilting templates for all over quilt design. Excuse me. The reason I am launching this podcast is because I'm about to launch my online course, the Quilting with Rulers Academy. And in efforts for me to reach a wider audience, I wanted to start this podcast to spread the word that as much as I love sending my personal quilts to the long arm quilter, we don't have to do that. We don't have to send everything to a long arm quilter. We can actually do that on our own machine. And so this podcast is going to be dedicated to the support of individuals at their home sewing machine, learning how to finish their quilts, either with free motion or free motion quilting with rulers. The benefits that I want to talk about with quilting with rulers is you're able to do nice, slow, intricate designs with an array of rulers. In a future upcoming episode, I'm going to go over some of my favorite rulers that I've used to complete my quilts, from the popular Angela Walters to my favorite Silly Moon quilts there in Canada, and a couple others that I absolutely love. But I'll dive deeper into those in more episodes. When you're using rulers, there's basically, you use the same settings as with free motion. You're going to lower your feed dogs. You're going to lower your speed. Your stitch length doesn't matter because it's all going to in your speed. You're going to want to and when you start, I'm getting ahead of myself. When you start free motion quilting or free motion quilting with rulers, you want to lower that speed to as low as you're comfortable with, but not like the snail's pace, not like the lowest. We want to start practicing at least the middle of your speed and probably go down from there. As you go down, you're going to find you are going to have more control over your hands and your quilt. Your foot can press as hard as it wants on that pedal, but if your speed is set down towards the middle to lower, that needle is only going to go up and down according to the speed that you set it. In my course, we're going to be going over this. I have videos that show how we're going to set it and the reason we want to set it. I even show troubleshooting with how I started with a higher speed and you get really small stitches, and too slow a speed, you get really wide stitches. So that's why trial and error is always going to be really, really important. The way quilting with rulers differs. I really want to talk about this. There's so many ways of quilting. My mom likes to get quilting templates, and she doesn't use the chalk pounce pads, but she'll use like a water erasing or a heat erasing pen, like a friction pen, and she will trace the quilting lines from that template, and then my mom hand quilts those designs. I absolutely love the finished look of those. However, I personally lack the patience that it takes for hand quilting. When you go to a long arm, it's going to be pretty expensive depending on your location and the quilter's experience. But 90% of the time, you're going to choose an all-over quilt design, and that's great. And what I love about long arm is stitch regulation. The stitch length is always perfect, like always perfect. But when you want to have custom quilting done, that means you're going to be paying your long arm quilter even more money for them to do custom design work on your quilt. Now, I love using the combination of walking foot quilting for like straight lines across, or maybe even wavy lines across my quilt. and then going in with my free motion ruler foot and a ruler, and then doing a custom design in a negative space. We are going to go over that in the course. So you're going to have a visual representation of what that looks like and how to do that. The next couple episodes that are going to come out, I hope to do some interviews, maybe even do some tutorials if I can do that verbally. But I really just wanted to get this launch out. It took me forever to get the podcasting app to work for me. So if you're listening to this, I do appreciate it. I would love for you to subscribe to this podcast. And if you know anybody who wants to learn how to finish quilts or learn about free motion quilting with rulers, I'm your girl. Go ahead and share this podcast out. And you can always connect with me on social media. I am at Instagram at TheMelanieGrace. I am on Facebook at TheMelanieGrace. I am on Etsy at etsy.com/TheMelanieGrace or Etsy/shop-TheMelanieGrace. You can find me on TikTok for as long as TikTok's available at TheMelanieGrace, otherwise known as the Karaoke Quilter. I am on YouTube. I do have tons of YouTube tutorials. My link on there is youtube.com/MelanieGraceMusic. I originated in the music industry. I write songs, I sing songs, I even have songs on Spotify at The Melanie Grace. But since having children, my life has definitely taken a turn. Not a turn, but it's taken a curve. And now I love quilting, I love sewing, and that is my complete passion. I would love to do a tour of my sewing room. So I'll probably do a visual tour through pictures on my Instagram. So definitely connect with me there. DM me any questions you have or email me. You can email me at info@sewmelanie.com. That's sew as in sewing. So info@sewmelanie.com. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer on this podcast, any challenges that you've had, any success stories that you also have had with quilting with rulers, I would love to hear them. But I really want to talk to you about how we can work together. When you sign up for my course, you're going to have 6 comprehensive video modules that I go through. The video modules, I think each module I have has at least 2 or 3 videos. I'm giving you a free quilt pattern. We're going to have an interactive learning experience. We're going to have weekly touch bases and calls. I want you to share your wins. And we're going to have a special module on handling the bulk, because a lot of people say that they don't want to quilt on their machine because quilts are heavy. How do I do it? I'm going to have a bonus module on how we can actually handle that bulk, and then a bonus module on machine binding, a really in-depth look on how we can finish our quilts easy and fast with machine binding. I want to have a bonus module from my mom about hand binding, but that'll come up. I'm going to have to talk to her about that, see if she's up for that. But all that to say, I know this is a short podcast. I'm just getting my feet wet, and I really want to just spread the word. My course is coming, and quilts are going to be finished. I'm going to sign out with my quilter's mantra. I will finish what I started, and I will only start what I finish. Let's try that again. The quilter's mantra. I will finish what I start. I will only start what I can finish. This is Melanie Grace signing out.